Welcome back, everybody. This is the Bad Raven, and welcome to the Bad Raven channel. Um, I'm doing a review today. If you can tell by the title of the thing, is King Arthur: Legend of the Sword. I saw this movie today at a matinee at my local theater, and I figured I would let you know what I thought about it. I've seen a lot of stuff on the internet and the press about this movie. It's directed by Guy Ritchie, the one that done the Sherlock Holmes movies, um, and he directs this one, and it stars as Arthur, Charlie Hunnam, and the mag is Astrid Frisbey, and the bad guy is Jude Law. Um, Arthur's dad is played by Eric Bannon, which is Uther, and it's got the one fellow from the Game of Thrones show, like Littlefinger in it. He's also in it. It's one of the knights of King Arthur's group. But by starting off this review, I want you to all know, and I think if you've watched any of my videos, I'm a big sword and the sorcerer type fan. I mean, not the movie Sword and the Sorcerer, but sword and sorcery movies, I guess I could say. Uh, Anything to do with magic and stuff like that, set back where they wear, the big knight outfits and chivalry and, the quest and everything I've told you in my other movies. I'm really drawn to, because when I was a kid, I watched Excalibur, which I need to do a review of that pretty soon and put it on here, and fell in love with all that kind of genre, especially with the mythology of, King Arthur, Knights of the Round Table, Sir Lancelot, Guinevere, all those characters. I have really taken a love for these characters and for those types of movies. So when I found out this movie was coming out, it seemed like it was a few years ago that I saw the first trailer. I think this has been kind of in production hell, or excuse my language, production heck. It had been slated to come out it had been made a few years ago and had been slated to come out from summer to fall to the spring to back. They kept moving around. So usually when a movie gets done that way, it has a bad, what you could say, a bad chance it's going to be bad. But since I love that genre, and I love Excalibur, which is Excalibur is the sword of King Arthur. I wanted to see what it was, because sometimes when you hear critics and people that watch movies, they'll have they don't have the same, knowledge of the source material, and they, may, just discount it without really paying attention to some of the integral parts of the story. So, I mean, even though they had said, a lot of people had said it was going to be the flop, and it may be flop if it hasn't taken in much money this past weekend. But I think more of that is because of the length and the more you have to invest yourself into this movie, and a lot of people aren't willing to make that investment. And I love this kind of stuff, so it makes me want to like it that much more. But is it a perfect movie? No, not whatsoever. Is it a perfect movie? But I want to tell you what I liked about it. Now, the direction by Guy Ritchie is kind of like the Sherlock Holmes, the very first one, maybe the second one. I've only watched I watched the first Sherlock Holmes and not the second, so I kind of seen his style of directing, and he uses that a lot in this movie, especially in the middle to the beginning to the middle. And I don't say it just doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't fit, and sometimes it just elongates the experience. I guess he kind of wants to have like a narration kind of in a way, but with the character telling, they're actually what I'm talking about. Like he'll be talking about they're going to go like attack the castle or something, and he'll start telling stuff he's going to do, and they'll actually show footage while he's talking about it of what he's talking about. Like he said, we're going to hit the north wall. And it shows them all going to the north wall. And he said, we're going to have a conversation with this person. And he says, I'm going to say this. And it shows the actual footage of him saying it. It kind of goes back and forth, between him talking about it and him actually showing in like future tense of what he's talking about. And, it's okay to a point, but he does it a couple more times in the movie like that. And it isn't horrible. It's just, it kind of brought me out of the movie a little bit. And the beginning, it's got the three parts: beginning, middle, end. You have to find out. The first part, literally, you see King Arthur go from a little child to a grown man in like a collage of scenes of him getting beat up and toughening up and smarting up and getting money and robbing and stealing to get what he needs, And it's like a fast-paced thing of that going on, and then you head in with the story, and it's a lot thrown at you at once. I mean, if you're just a typical fan, a typical person coming in not knowing anything about this type of subject, you're going to be lost. There was a few times it lost me, and I knew what was pretty much going on. I'm about to watch it a second time to catch up on things, but I did a lot of flashbacks and stuff like that, and so it kind of leads you into the story, but it seemed like the pacing was a little off, and it took a while for the story to really kick in and start to pay dividends to all the stuff that they had built up from the beginning. The visually, it looked stunning. I mean, I loved it, even though the auditorium I was in was the same auditorium I was in when I watched Life, and it was the lights were kind of dim. And see, now I had to watch the 3D because I got there a little late. I couldn't watch the 4 o'clock. It already started, and I don't like going into a movie, even if it's 5 minutes into the actual movie, because I feel like I've missed something. So I went to the 4:30 3D showing, and I don't care much about 3D anymore. I used to like it, but it dingy because the brightness of the film even more to me. And I wish I'd seen it on a little bit better auditorium. But anyway, besides those points, it visually still looks stunning, and the cities, all the sword, everything, the characters and stuff, they match perfectly for that time period. And the main character, Arthur, does a superb job as Arthur. He, I think he played on the TV show about the motorcycle guys. I can't think of the name of it. Maybe I'll post it right here. And he is a top-notch author, King Arthur, and so is his band of merry men, and they all do relatively good, and I like that. It's just the pacing, and like I said, there's some parts that it just takes a while to get everything to gel. And Jude Law is an excellent bad guy, and he is a well-versed actor. I've seen him in several other movies besides this, and he has never had a bad part as far as his acting goes. And so there's no problem with that section. It's just I guess the introduction of so much material and having to break it all up is kind of daunting. But they don't, and they mention some stuff about Merlin, but they don't ever show Merlin. They have like a go-between between Merlin called the Mags. I think it's Mags. And she's good. Don't get me wrong. I really liked her character. She's a very good sorceress, I guess, or Merlin stand-in as sorceress. And she's got a lot of good powers and everything. And she kind of steals the show in certain parts of the action scenes. And I do like the stuff they not just with the sword, it shows them pulling the sword from the stone, which is Excalibur. and they have a little twist on that in the movie. I try not to give much away. I don't want I don't want this to be spoiler free, but that little twist with the sword and what it does for Arthur to be able to fight a lot of people at once and have a lot of power. So it's really cool. It's really cool the way they do this special effects for this, and the sword and how they tie it in, how him and the sword are becoming one in the movie, and him being able to control the sword and letting go to the sword and not wanting to be the king, of course. And they have a scene about that. I was telling my son on the way home. That's visually stunning of him getting the sword from the Lady in the Lake. And if you know anything about the mythology of King Arthur, the Lady in the Lake, is the one that the sword comes from, and she's in water. That's why she's Lady in the Lake. But they have a scene where she's pulling him in, and she's giving him the sword, and the Lady of the Lake looks totally awesome, better than any Lady in the Lake I've ever seen, even the Excalibur Lady in the Lake, which is good also. But they do a really good job with her special effects and the way she's presented, and that's, like I said, the sword too, the gravity of the power, the ultimate bad guy that he fights, and the history of his family, the reason he was run off, all that is well done, in my opinion. And I can see some of the criticism with such a big cast and so much things going on, and having to put this into a big storyline, and I can see where other people would be turned off. But there was a few times in the first two parts, the beginning and the middle, that I kind of got a little restless. But it does have a great payoff towards the end of the movie, midways beyond toward the end of the movie. It's a really good payoff, and I really, really liked the end. And I was, almost started clapping. There was only one other person in there, so I kept and looked kind of silly, two people in there and me clapping. But I actually talked to the screen at one point. So I mean, I enjoyed it. Like I said, it's not a perfect movie. You'll probably go watch it. You don't have the love for the genre. You'll probably say, I don't know what in the heck Bad Raven saw about this movie. I don't like it. But I, on the other hand, love this genre, love the source material, and I gave it more of a chance, I guess you could say, than most critics or people that are not into it. And maybe there's some out there that were really into it, and they just didn't get what I saw, But I really, really liked it. And I don't, other people probably should maybe wait for it to get on DVD, even though I'm glad I experienced it on the big screen, because, like I said, you had some very awesome visuals. And there goes my awesome word. I was trying to keep from using awesome all the time. But it had some very, very vivid and beautiful scenery and CGI that they used, and it looked very good. But getting back to it, I liked it. Maybe a 1 out of 10. I might have gave it a 6.5. And people say, "Well, how that's a felon," But it's not everybody's thing, and I don't want to build it up here like it's going to knock your socks off. It knocked my socks off, but I like this stuff. So maybe watch it like when it comes to Redbox and see what you think and give it a chance. It's got action in it. Like I said, it's a little long. It's over 2 hours, maybe 2 hours and 10 minutes. But maybe it could have been trimmed down a little bit, and some scenes maybe reworked to flow a little bit more better, but a little better. But I enjoyed it. So leave a comment down the bottom. Tell me what you thought. If you saw it, maybe you didn't see it, so you won't be able to comment. But I would like to hear anybody's view for or against. I'm open to either one. I mean, like I said, it has its problems and it has its flaws. But I appreciate you watching my video. And come back, and we're going to, like I said, we're going to be making some more stuff, and there are going to be a lot of movies this summer I'm going to watch, and I'm going to give you a review of every one of them, spoiler-free. And if it ain't spoiler-free, I'll let you know. So I thank you for watching, and remember, the Bad Raven is your friend, and we'll talk to you later. Goodbye.